coach revealed hidden bias against black swimmer. She responded by shattering the record in 30 seconds. Maya Johnson stood at the edge of the pool, heart pounding in her chest like a drum. The shimmering water mirrored the sunlight, almost beckoning her to dive in, yet the moments before the race felt heavy with doubt. Just days earlier, her coach had let slip a casual comment that cut deeper than he could ever imagine. "I just don't know if you have what it takes," he had said, eyes scanning the team, seeing her for her background rather than her talent. It echoed in her mind, like an unwelcome chant that wouldn't fade. She could feel the weight of history, of generations who had fought for recognition, pressing down on her. But she couldn't let him win. She wouldn't let these words define her. Born and raised in a small suburban town, Maya grew up in a close-knit family that preached hard work and resilience. Her parents, always cheering from the sidelines, taught her that perseverance was more than just a word, it was a way of life. And Grandma, fierce and proud, once marched for civil rights, always sharing stories of struggle and triumph that lit a fire in Maya's heart. "Fight for your dreams, baby," she'd whisper, her eyes tearing up as she recounted tales of struggle and strength. As summer dawned, the sun spilled over the local pool where Maya trained for hours, dedicated to perfecting her strokes. Every morning practice was a silent battle against herself, overcoming her insecurities, unintentionally fueled by her coach's doubts. Even as she fought the waters, her strong community shouting encouragement at the diner or pooling together for backyard barbecues was her lifeblood. They believed in her, filling her heart with hope even when she faltered, yet, as the state championships loomed, the pressure intensified. It wasn't just the competition, it was the nagging doubt that her coach had planted, a shadow that threatened to suffocate her dreams. Could she really compete against the odds stacked against her? Would the scholarship seem even more distant if she didn't break free from these chains of thought weighing her down? As days ticked down, she felt the enormity of expectation. The pool wasn't just a body of water, it felt like a battleground. By the time the day of the state meet arrived, Maya stood on the pool deck, eyes glowing with determination but pained by uncertainty. She thought about Grandma and the wisdom she'd imparted. Remember, to swim is to fight, and to fight is to truly live. As she held her breath, focusing on the starting block, she could hear the crowd's murmur of anticipation, a collective heartbeat. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The starting gun fired, and Maya dove into the water, feeling the cool embrace swallow her whole. Each stroke became a crescendo of power, a wild expression of everything she carried in her heart. She could hear the shouts from the stands, her community rallying behind her, believing in her. The tension coiled tighter as she surged forward, her body a symphony of strength and speed, drowning out the coach's disparaging voices. As she reached the final lap, adrenaline surged through her, and an unshakable truth blossomed in her chest. This was about more than records, it was about breaking the glass ceilings for everyone who felt underestimated. With a last powerful kick, Maya harnessed every ounce of energy, propelling herself to an electrifying finish, shattering the school record and halting time itself. Still catching her breath, aroused by the thrill and sweetness of victory, she realized the whispers of doubt weren't completely silenced. They mingled with cheers and celebration, realizing that moment was monumental. Would it challenge her community, her coach, to confront their biases? Would her triumph spark real change? With a smile dancing on her lips, she reveled in the uncertainty that lingered, holding on to hope that the real race against the chains of prejudice was just beginning. Maya stepped out of the pool, the roar of the crowd enveloping her like a warm embrace. The thrill of victory surged through her veins, and for a moment, the weight of her coach's doubt seemed lifted. She found her parents in the stands, their faces radiant with pride, and Grandma, waving frantically and cheering louder than anyone. This was it. This was what she had fought for, but as the celebrations churned around her, a sliver of unease crept in. The moment was sweet, yes, but would it change anything? She glanced back at Coach Thompson, standing apart from the other teammates, arms crossed, expression unreadable. Had her win been enough to loosen the grip of his bias? Would he see her for the swimmer she was, rather than the color of her skin? Maya. Maya. Her best friend, Kayla, sprinted over, nearly knocking her over with a hug. You did it. You really did it. I can't believe it, Maya laughed, breathless from adrenaline. I didn't think I could. Of course you could. You've always been amazing. You just showed everyone what you're made of. Kayla's eyes shone with excitement. We need to get you up there for some interviews. You'll want to tell your story. As Maya pulled away, she felt the weight of those words. Telling her story could mean more than just a moment of fame or recognition. It could be a chance to inspire others, to push back against the whispers of doubt that lingered. The media soon descended, microphones and cameras thrust in her direction. She took a deep breath, channeling the courage that had fueled her race. Today was about more than just swimming, she began, her voice steady despite the nerves. It was about proving that hard work means everything and that we can break barriers, no matter how high. I hope all kids, especially those who feel like they don't belong, see that they can achieve their dreams. Cheers erupted from the crowd, her community echoing their support. In that moment, she realized how powerful her voice could be. After the interviews, when the initial tide of excitement faded, Maya found a quiet corner of the pool deck to catch her breath. But then she noticed Coach Thompson approaching. The uncertainty folded in on itself, and her stomach twisted. Would he offer a half-hearted compliment, like so many athletes experienced at the hands of dismissive coaches? She prepared herself for anything, but nothing could truly prepare her for his words. Maya, he began, pausing as if trying to find the right tone. I was wrong. You've shown me that I underestimated you. You didn't just break a record, you broke something deeper. That bold admission from her coach felt like a breakthrough. She took a moment, processing the significance of his words. He was wrestling with the shadows of his biases, but could this be the start of real change? Thank you, Coach, she said, feeling a sense of unease melt into cautious optimism. But we have a long way to go. It's not just about one race. It's about our future. He nodded solemnly, and for the first time, Maya sensed a shift in him. She hoped it was the start of something bigger, but her heart still raced. The days that followed would determine not just her path, but how she and her community confronted the biases that had held them back for far too long. Their voices mattered. As she lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, Maya couldn't shake the feeling of responsibility that settled in her chest. She thought about her record but also about the impact it could have. Would she be able to inspire others to stand tall? To fight for their voices? The thought made her both anxious and hopeful. Before sleep finally came, a question lingered: what would it take to keep this momentum going? Just as dawn approached, like the first rays of the sun peeking through her window, another thought struck: would her next race be in the pool, or out in the world, navigating the waters of change? The next day, the sun spilled through Maya's window, flooding her room with a golden light. It felt like a new beginning. She stretched, letting the warmth anchor her thoughts. What would today bring? She had won, but now came the hard part: using that win to spark change. After a hasty breakfast, she plopped her backpack on her shoulders and headed out. School felt different today, electric with the buzz of her accomplishment. Students whispered and pointed, glances filled with a mix of admiration and curiosity. She could hear snippets of conversations as she walked through the hall. Did you see her race? Incredible. I wish I could swim like that. But amidst all the praise, doubt nagged at her. Was her moment resonating? Or would it fade into the background like so many fleeting highs? In her first period class, her teacher opened with a celebration of Maya's victory. The entire room burst into applause. It was both thrilling and a little nerve-wracking. She smiled, but deep down, she wondered how many of her classmates truly understood the journey she'd faced. How many knew the struggles behind those victories? As you can see, Maya is a great example of hard work and determination. I encourage all of you to chase your dreams, her teacher declared. Maya felt the weight of those words. Their sincerity was comforting, yet the pressure mounted. Later, as she slumped into her desk for lunch, Kayla slid in next to her, her face glowing with excitement. You should totally start a blog or a YouTube channel. Share your journey, your story. Imagine how many people you could connect with. Maya took a moment to consider it. The idea of sharing her experiences was appealing. But there was so much more than just the wins. She thought of the hesitations, the late-night training sessions, the dismissive comments from others, including her coach. What if people don't respond? What if they don't care? Maya's voice trembled slightly. Of course they will. You already know kids look up to you. You're a role model now. Kayla encouraged, her enthusiasm infectious. You can do it. Maya felt her heart swell at the thought but also constrict with fear. The stakes felt higher now. If she chose to speak up, she would have to face the truth, not just for herself but for others who felt unheard. Would sharing her journey draw both praise and criticism? Later that evening, as Maya scrolled through the online comments about her win, she noticed a mix of support and skepticism. Some were uplifting, but others stung with undertones of doubt. Just a fluke, one comment read. Gained fame because of race, not talent, another remarked. Inside, Maya felt a knot tighten. That was the reality she faced. Her victory was marked by barriers she had to shatter. But she couldn't let that stop her. If she truly believed in her message, she had to rise above their words. The uncertainties swirled in her mind, intertwining with determination. She envisioned a future where conversations about inclusion and diversity could flourish. Maya suddenly sat up straight, an idea forming solidly. What if she threw a community event, a meet-and-greet swim clinic? It would be a place for kids of all backgrounds to gather, learn, and share. Every voice mattered, including hers. She could create a platform to encourage everyone, especially those who felt marginalized. Excitement coursed through her at the thought, igniting a fiery resolve. But as the night deepened, questions lingered. Could she get the support she needed? Would her coach back her up? Was she really ready to take on such a responsibility? Maya pressed her fingertips against her temples, absorbing the tidal wave of thoughts rushing over her. This was not just about swimming anymore, this was about changing the narrative, and she was staring at the blank page of her next chapter. What if her next race was not just in the pool but also in her community, facing the challenges that lay ahead? What would happen when she stepped into that role? The morning of the swim clinic arrived, filled with promise but also a swirling storm of nerves in Maya's stomach. She woke up early, the sun still yawning over the horizon, and raced through her routine. Today was not just about splashing in the water, it was about making a statement and putting herself out there. As she tied her hair back, she caught her reflection in the mirror. For a moment, she hesitated. What if nobody showed up? Could she handle the pressure if things didn't go perfectly? She inhaled deeply, letting the air fill her lungs. No, she needed to push through. This was about more than her fears. This was about change. Arriving at the community pool, Maya's heart pounded in tandem with the rhythmic noise of splashing water. The sun sparkled off the clear blue surface, mirroring her shining aspirations. She took a deep breath, scanning the area. The space was just as she had imagined, but the sight of a modest crowd beginning to gather sparked both excitement and anxiety. Kayla was already there, setting up tables with informational flyers about diversity in sports and empowerment. Look at everyone showing up. You're really doing this, Maya. Her eyes sparkled with encouragement, and Maya felt a rush of gratitude toward her friend. Slowly, kids trickled in, young faces filled with a mix of curiosity and excitement. Each one represented a thread of her vision voices she wanted to lift. Maya approached them with a smile, her pulse quickening. "Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you're here." The kids looked up at her, some shy, some eager. She could see their hopes reflected in their glances, their own dreams waiting to be chased. Today isn't just about swimming. It's about believing in ourselves and each other. We're all on our own journeys. As the clinic began, Maya took them through warm-ups and techniques. Their laughter and playful splashes filled the air, and she felt a spark of joy starting to ignite. This was her swimming world, yet bigger and more inclusive. With every stroke, every cheer, she realized she was breaking down something more than just water barriers. But then, a voice interrupted. It was Coach Reynolds, his serious expression cutting through the fun. "What is going on here?" He seemed skeptical as he surveyed the children. "Kids need structure. Are you sure they can handle this?" Maya's stomach dropped. Standing tall, she refused to look away. "They're handling it just fine, Coach. They're empowered. This is exactly what they need." A few kids turned at her proclamation, their eyes wide with admiration. They knew she was defending them. The tension crackled in the air, but Maya pressed forward, her heart racing. "You said we should always support each other. This is a community, and everyone deserves a chance to thrive." She could feel the weight of her words hanging there, challenging him. The other kids took a collective breath, watching for his response. The silence twisted in knots, breaking only as Coach Reynolds cleared his throat. "All right, Maya. We'll see how this goes." His words felt like both a victory and an ominous shadow. But she held on to hope, determined to prove him wrong, not just for herself, but for each kid who looked up to her. As the clinic progressed, the joy peaked. The kids raced each other and cheered when anyone achieved a small milestone. It was a celebration of capability and resilience. By the end of the day, Maya felt pride swell within her. There was still a long road ahead, but this was just the beginning. The thought of taking the event further, of making this a regular gathering, sparked in her. And then, with the sun setting behind them, she noticed something unexpected: Coach Reynolds mingling with the kids, lightening up a bit. Could it be that she was changing his perspective too? With a hopeful heart, Maya whispered to herself, "If I can change one mind, what else can we achieve together?" But a gnawing question echoed: would he truly support her if she pushed for more? What would it take to shatter the barriers that still loomed large? As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow across the pool, Maya felt that familiar feeling of hope fluttering in her chest. The laughter of the kids still echoed in her ears, a sweet melody mixed with splashes and cheers. She glanced over to Coach Reynolds, who appeared more relaxed among the kids than he had earlier. His usual stern demeanor softened as he interacted with them, asking questions and smiling, something Maya never expected to witness. "Maya," Kayla called, her voice cutting through Maya's thoughts. "Can we talk for a second?" Maya turned, wiping the droplets of water from her face. "Sure, what's up?" Kayla beckoned her to a quieter corner of the deck. "You did amazing today. But, I can't help but wonder, what do you think will happen next? With Coach?" Taking a deep breath, Maya pondered the question. "I guess I hope he'll see how much this means to the kids. How important it is to support them both in the pool and beyond." Kayla's brow furrowed. "But do you really think he's ready to accept that?" Maya hesitated. The thought of Coach, with his old-school attitudes and rigid methods, being genuinely supportive felt like trying to catch a fish with bare hands. "I want to believe so. But if he doesn't, we'll just have to find a way to show him, right?" A shadow crossed Kayla's face. "And what if he fights back? You know how set in his ways he is." Maya's heart raced. Would he push against the very change they sought? She didn't want to dwell on that fear, especially after witnessing the victories of the day, but it nagged at her. We can't back down. If we want to change the culture around here, we need to be persistent. With renewed determination, she turned and headed back towards the kids, who were laughing and splashing each other playfully. It was infectious. Each child, from the timid ones who barely made a splash to the daring ones who leaped into the water, represented a piece of the future Maya envisioned. And there was Coach, smiling as Rachel pulled off a surprising cannonball, sending a wave of water crashing toward him. That smile encouraged Maya. Despite the pressures, she felt a surge of inspiration. If Coach was willing to let his guard down today, maybe it was the start of something truly remarkable. Minutes later, Coach Reynolds approached her, hands in pockets and an unexpected seriousness etched across his face. Maya, can we have a word? She swallowed hard. Of course, Coach. Listen, I didn't mean to disrupt things today. Watching the kids, I realized I might have been too rigid about it, he admitted, scratching the back of his head. Her heart leaped. This was the opening she had hoped for. That's all right. I appreciate you being honest. It's all about finding what works best for everyone. Yeah, well, I've seen the way they look up to you. It's something we need more of in this community. But it'll take all of us, you know? Maya felt her smile widen. Absolutely. I really believe that together we can foster a great environment for these kids. Let us talk about making this a regular thing. I want to support your vision, but also, we need to ensure we're coaching responsibly, he said. She wanted to jump up and dance. That's fantastic, Coach. I think we can do really great things. But his next words tempered her excitement. However, it's going to take time. Just know I'm still figuring out how to support these changes while not losing sight of certain traditions. Maya's heart sank slightly. I understand, but can we challenge those traditions? They shouldn't stifle new voices. You're passionate. I like that about you, Coach replied, his eyes reflecting a mix of apprehension and respect. We'll have to see where it goes. Maya nodded, understanding the difficulties ahead. But if Coach could begin to open up, she felt she could fight for further changes. As the crowd dispersed, Maya's mind raced with new ideas, plans she wanted to implement for the next swim clinic. Support, structure, empowerment, it was all on the table. But deep down, she couldn't shake that question. Would his support be enough if it came with strings attached? The following week loomed large, with unknowns swirling around her. What would it take to truly break down the walls that had stood in their way for so long? The days leading up to the next swim clinic felt like an eternity for Maya. Anticipation churned in her stomach, a mix of excitement and anxiety. She had spent every spare moment crafting her ideas. The success of their last session ignited a fire within her, but the looming shadow of Coach's cautious approach made her uneasy. Would he backtrack? Would he truly embrace the changes she envisioned, or would his old habits creep back in? On the morning of the clinic, the sun beamed brightly, illuminating the pool in a brilliant shade of blue. As the kids arrived, their energy was palpable, a buzz of chatter and laughter swirling in the air. Maya smiled, kneeling to tie the laces of a young swimmer's sneakers, her heart swelling with pride. Hey, Maya! Called out Sam, one of the younger swimmers, as he dove into the shallow end with a jubilant splash. Did you see my dive? I did. You were amazing. She cheered back, her voice full of warmth. Coach Reynolds stood nearby, crossing his arms and watching with a tight smile. He seemed lost in thought, his eyes scanning the kids, but Maya saw the tension in his jawline. She couldn't shake the feeling that he was wrestling with the changes they were trying to implement. As the session began, Maya gathered the kids around for a brief talk. Today, we're going to push ourselves, and I want all of you to remember that it's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn and grow. A flush of nervousness swept through the group, especially the first-timers who were still finding their rhythm. That's when Maya spotted Zoe, a talented swimmer who had gone through more than most kids her age should have to face. Zoe was often hesitant, unsure of her talents because of the pressure that came with being one of the few black swimmers on the team. Maya recalled how Zoe had almost given up last year, feeling invisible in a sport that demanded confidence. But today, Maya could see a flicker of determination in her eyes. "Zoe, are you ready to show everyone what you've got?" Maya called out, her voice encouraging. Zoe straightened up, taking a deep breath. "I think so. Let us do this." Together, Maya replied, her heart pounding for the girl. As the practice commenced, Maya focused on every swimmer's technique, giving tips and encouragement. They practiced their strokes, dived, and raced. Zoe hesitated at first, but Maya made sure to draw her into the challenges the others were embracing, and then, amidst the splashes and shouts, there it was, a challenge raced amongst the kids. The clock was ticking, and they were about to embark on the relay race of the day. Maya felt the tension rise in her chest. Coach Reynolds called the start, his voice authoritative and measured. What happened next shocked everyone. Zoe, who had been quiet and hesitant, exploded with energy as she leaped into the water. It was like watching a blossom burst into bloom. She swam with ferocity, cutting through the water, relishing the freedom it provided. Then it happened. Zoe, in a burst of adrenaline and sheer will, shattered a long-standing record. Cheers erupted, and Maya found herself leaping in excitement, along with the others. But the focus quickly shifted to Coach Reynolds. The proud smile that had crossed his face seemed to fade as he watched Zoe, grappling with an emotion he didn't fully understand. It was a mixture of pride and a flicker of discomfort, as though he wished for an explanation of what had just transpired but didn't know how to articulate it. Zoe climbed out of the water, breathless and astonished, her teammates surrounding her in celebration. "I did it! I really did it!" she shouted, her voice barely above a whisper between sobs and laughter. Maya rushed over, grabbing Zoe in a tight embrace. They twirled together in excitement. "You were incredible. You showed everyone how strong you are." But even in her joy, Maya couldn't ignore the look on Coach's face. What does this mean for him? She wondered, glancing toward him, her heart sinking. Would he step back into the safe confines of tradition, or would this moment push him forward? As the celebration continued, one burning question hung in the air. Would Zoe's triumph be the catalyst for everything they had wanted to change? Or would it be just another fleeting moment that he would overlook? The next chapter set itself up, with uncertainty hanging in the balance and emotions running high. What would Coach's next move be? The energy in the pool hung heavy, mixed with joy, confusion, and anxious anticipation. As the cheers for Zoe broke the surface, Maya couldn't help but catch Coach Reynolds' gaze. His expression flickered between admiration and tension. Maya felt a familiar knot tighten in her stomach. What were his thoughts? Would he confront his biases today, or would he retreat behind his wall of tradition? The swim clinic continued, but the atmosphere had changed. Kids still laughed and splashed, yet the undercurrent was different: sudden victories coupled with uncertainty. Maya clapped and encouraged the team, but her eyes kept drifting back to Coach. He stood at the edge of the pool, arms crossed tighter than ever, his brow knitted in thought. "All right, team. Let us gather around again," Maya called, trying to pump up the energy. She needed to steer the focus back to enthusiasm, away from the tension that had snuck in from Coach's reaction. The athletes gathered, breathless and excited. Zoe stood at the center, her cheeks flushed with pride. "That was so fun!" she exclaimed, still riding the high of her swim. "Let us talk about your race, Zoe," Maya began. "What did you feel out there?" Zoe's eyes sparkled. "I felt free. Like I could go anywhere." Her exhilaration spread through the group. They laughed and exchanged high fives, but Maya caught the flicker in Coach's eyes again, a slight shake of his head like he was trying to dispel something brewing inside him. "Let us wrap it up for today," Team, coach finally spoke. His tone was calm but firm. We all saw some impressive swims today, especially from Zoe. But I want you all to remember that speed isn't everything. Focus and technique are just as important. The words felt heavy, almost dismissive, as if he were placing any concerns about Zoe's talent back into a box labeled too much change, too fast. Maya's heart sank. Was it possible he didn't see what everyone else did? Coach, Maya interjected, her heart racing. Zoe's performance today isn't just about speed. It's a sign of growth, not just for her but for all of us. We need to embrace this change. The conviction in her voice surprised even her, the kids murmured, glancing at each other. Zoe's bright expression dimmed just slightly as reality set in. Coach's expression remained unreadable, but the tightening of fists betrayed the battle inside him. I respect your passion, Maya. Coach began, his voice careful. But we have to balance enthusiasm with discipline. There are processes that Maya cut him off, unable to contain her frustration. Isn't that what got us here? Processes so rigid that they overlook the unique talent in our pool? Zoe proved she can shine and inspire others to do the same. Shouldn't we be celebrating that? A silence fell over the group. Most kids shifted uncomfortably, caught between admiration for Zoe and concern over Maya's confrontation. Coach's eyes locked onto Maya's, flickering with something unnameable. The mood in the clinic shifted again, and for a moment, the cheers faded into the background noise. This was the pivotal moment. They were standing on the edge of something monumental and unknown. Fine, Coach said finally, his voice low but steady, let's get to the bottom of this. We'll analyze what went right in today's race and what kind of training Zoe might need next. Maya's breath caught in her throat, hope rekindling. You mean you'll consider changing the training approach? That depends, Coach replied, glancing over the group, on how we move forward together. As his acknowledgement lingered in the air, more kids began to rally around Zoe, eager to share in her triumph and discuss their own dreams and challenges. The moment felt monumental, like a crack in a dam that threatened to let out everything kept inside for too long, but even as the excitement built, Maya felt a weight pressing on her chest. Change was fragile, and would they be strong enough to make it last? As Coach walked away, Maya couldn't shake the expression on his face. Was it reluctance, fear, or something more? In the weeks to come, choices would shape their futures. Would Coach Reynolds allow Zoe's celebration to redefine their journey? Or slip back into his comfort zone, shunning the very change that could unite them all? The answers were waiting. The following weeks felt both exhilarating and tense. Swim practice shifted, yet the air remained thick with unspoken words and the collective weight of expectation. Maya watched as Coach Reynolds conceded more ground in training. The pool echoed with both laughter and the sounds of struggle as the kids pushed themselves harder than ever before. Zoe was at the center of it all, her determination ignited by the belief others had in her. Maya, watch this. Zoe called, her voice ringing with confidence. She launched herself from the block, arms slicing through the water with a newfound grace. Watching her swim was like witnessing fireworks. Her strokes were quick and precise, churning the water into a froth behind her. Maya felt a grin stretch across her face. There was something magical about seeing Zoe embrace her potential, and it fueled the team's spirit like the summer sun. But not far from the excitement, Coach Reynolds stood isolated. In the basketball court area just beyond the pool, he paced a lone figure at the edge of a shifting world. Maya could see him pondering the changes swirling around them. She felt a tug, the urge to reach out, to bridge the growing divide between them. Coach, she approached him one afternoon after practice. Can we talk? Sure, he replied cautiously, crossing his arms as if bracing himself. Maya hesitated, uncertainty fluttering in her chest. I know this is a lot to adjust to, but it's good for everyone. Zoe is showing us what's possible if we open our minds. He smirked slightly, a mix of respect and reservation flickering in his eyes. It's not just about talent, Maya. Training needs a foundation built on discipline and hard work. And you think the girls don't have that? Maya challenged gently. Zoe worked for this. She's breaking barriers, and that should matter. Look, I get it, he adjusted his stance and held her gaze. But I also have to think about the consequences of changing everything too fast. It affects the whole team. Exactly. It affects everyone, Maya replied, heat creeping into her voice. Change means growth. We've been stagnant for too long. He blinked, processing her words. You really believe that, don't you? More than anything, she replied, conviction fluttering through her like a heartbeat. As weeks rolled into days, the tides of encouragement came crashing in. The team thrived, feeding off Zoe's performance, yet there was an underlying tension in Coach's demeanor. In meetings, if Zoe's name surfaced, Coach grew noticeably rigid. It was like a switch flipping, the warmth fading, replaced with doubt. Maya couldn't shake the feeling that he was holding back. Were those walls of tradition still looming? The worry crept in like shadows settling over the sun. What if he decided to enforce those walls more sternly? The turning point arrived on one particularly steamy afternoon, the clamor of splashes surrounding the pool. Zoe stood at the starting block, her face set with fierce determination. The other swimmers observed, holding their breaths in awe. Today would be different, a chance to capture the moment and embrace their collective journey. Just push through, Zoe. You've got this. Maya shouted, her heart dancing with hope. Zoe dove into the water like a lightning bolt, a blur of motion. As she swam, Maya felt the tension build, coursing through the group. Zoe was racing against not just time, but also against the boundaries that Coach still clung to, and then it happened. Zoe surged forward, defying expectations with every stroke, perfectly coordinated and flawlessly determined. Cheers erupted as she approached the finish line, the world around Maya fading. The only thing she could see was Zoe's unwavering ambition. Come on, girl! Maya shouted, her voice hoarse with excitement. Zoe's hand hit the wall, and for a brief moment, silence engulfed the pool. Then, it broke like thunder. The kids exploded into applause, Zoe's joy radiating through the air. Maya turned, breathless. Coach looked stunned, yet there was something else in his eyes, confusion. Fear? Did she? Coach started, face drawn tight. Yeah, Maya breathed, reminding herself to let the moment settle. She did. But would that moment be enough to shift Coach's perspective once and for all? Could Zoe's remarkable feat become the catalyst for genuine change? The echoes of the cheers rang in her ears, and for the first time, Maya felt the dawn of hope spread through her. Would Coach Reynolds finally allow Zoe's victory to open the door, or would he shutter them all back in? The answers brewed inside the delicate atmosphere lingering between them, heavy and full of possibility. The atmosphere buzzed with electric energy after Zoe's stunning performance. Maya could hardly contain her excitement, a wave of exhilaration sweeping through her as she looked around, soaking in the reactions of her teammates. They were jumping, hugging, and celebrating like they had just won a championship meet. But as the buoyant cheers echoed through the pool area, her eyes kept drifting back to Coach Reynolds. He stood rooted to the spot, the applause washing over him like a tide that he refused to join. His expression was a blend of admiration and something darker, an uncertainty that gnawed at Maya's heart. Did he truly appreciate what Zoe had done, or was he still grappling with the change she represented? Come on, Coach. One of the older swimmers called, breaking the tension. Get in here. Celebrate with us. But Coach only shook his head slightly, his jaw clenched as if he were fighting an internal battle. Maya felt as if she were treading between two worlds, the jubilant energy of the swimmers and the heavy uncertainty shadowing their coach. Hey, Coach. Maya ventured, stepping forward. What's on your mind? I just need a moment, he replied, his voice tight. I need to think. Maya frowned. Think about what? Zoe just shattered records. This is history. He glanced at her, and in that fleeting moment, she caught a glimpse of conflict in his eyes. It's not that simple, Maya. It never is. Before she could respond, a voice broke into the moment. It was Zoe, her face awash with joy, gliding up to them. Coach! Did you see? Did you see what I did? He hesitated, his answer caught in his throat. The crack in his armor was jagged and deep, and without understanding why, Maya felt a flicker of fear. Yeah, I saw it, he finally said, though his tone didn't match Zoe's elation. He turned slightly, brushing past Maya as he began to walk away. I'll meet you later, Zoe. I just need what? Maya interjected, stung by his departure. You can't run away from this. Not now. Zoe looked at Maya, confusion etched on her face. What is going on with him? I don't know, Maya said, frustration bubbling. But this was a milestone, Zoe. He should be proud. You should be celebrating, not wondering why he's avoiding us. Zoe's smile faltered. I thought this would change everything. It has to. Maya urged, fierce determination rising within her. We owe it to ourselves and the next generation. But we have to get through to him first. As the practice wound down, whispers filled the air. Maya watched as Zoe lingered at the edge of the pool, lost in thought. She felt the weight of the moment, knowing that Zoe was more than just an athlete, she was a trailblazer. That night, the locker room was a flurry of excitement, but Maya's mind was elsewhere. She gathered her team, fire in her belly, her heart pushing her forward. We need to show Coach what Zoe means to us. This isn't just about swimming, it's about change. We can't let him hide. Not anymore. The swimmers murmured their agreement, the idea of coming together sparking something in them. This was their moment to push boundaries, to show Coach that every single one of them was on Zoe's side. Maya felt a rush of hope fill her heart. But could they truly break through Coach Reynolds' hesitation? As they left the locker room, a determined glint caught Zoe's eye, mixing with uncertainty, and Maya knew the journey was far from over. Tomorrow, we dive deeper. Maya declared, her voice ringing with resolve. We'll show Coach that this is just the beginning. Together, they stepped out into the twilight, unaware of how far they were willing to go to confront their coach and the biases that shadowed his belief in them. Could a moment like Zoe's be enough to ignite a revolution in their small team and the larger world around them? Would they be strong enough to challenge their fears head-on? The uncertainty loomed ahead like the darkened waters of the pool at night, shimmering with the promise of what tomorrow might hold. The day of reckoning came quicker than Maya anticipated. The community pool was once again buzzing with excitement, but today felt heavier, charged with an unspoken tension. Swimmers mingled, the splashes and laughter wrapping around them like a comforting blanket. But Maya couldn't ignore the gravity that hung in the air, a blend of hope and anxiety as she prepared for a conversation with Coach Reynolds that could change everything. Hey, Maya. Zoe called, bubbling with energy as she raced up, her smile brightening the space around them. I'm ready to go faster today. I can feel it. Maya grinned back. You crushed that record last week. You've got this. But even as she said those words, doubt flickered in the back of her mind. Would Coach recognize Zoe's strength, or would he retreat once again into his old ways of thinking? As the team gathered around the pool's edge, the sun casting warm rays across the water, Maya took a deep breath, glancing toward Coach Reynolds, who was setting up the practice equipment with a furrowed brow. All right, team. She exclaimed, her voice ringing with enthusiasm to mask her nervousness. Let us start with some warm-ups. The laughter and cheers erupted, but, through it all, Maya kept her eyes on the coach. His posture was still, the tension in his shoulders palpable. Was he still unsure about embracing the change they all craved? After warm-ups, with everyone gathered, Maya took a step forward, her heart hammering in her chest. "Coach," she began, her voice steady, "the kids are buzzing with energy. This is our chance to build on the momentum and continue pushing boundaries." The swimmers nodded in agreement, their eyes full of enthusiasm. Coach Reynolds finally met her gaze, and Maya could see the flicker of turmoil beneath his surface. "Maya, I appreciate your passion, but rushing into changes can create instability. We need to consider the bigger picture." "But what about what happened with Zoe?" Maya pressed, feeling a swell of emotion. "This isn't just about swimming, it's about breaking barriers, inspiring every single kid here to dream bigger. Look at Zoe. She's shown us the possibilities, and we'd be foolish to ignore that." The silence that followed felt heavy, as if everyone were holding their breath, waiting for Coach to respond. His eyes flickered over the team, every hopeful expression a reflection of what they all desired. Then, slowly, he nodded. "You're right, Maya. But change doesn't come without challenges. I've always believed in discipline and hard work, and maybe that means I've overlooked some talents." "Exactly." Maya felt her heartbeat quicken with excitement. "What if we combine traditional training with the energy these kids bring? What if we inspire them while guiding them?" Coach's brow furrowed deeper, but this time, there was a glimmer of recognition. "And what would that look like? Let us empower them to express themselves in the water, build techniques around their unique strengths. Celebrating victories big or small will foster growth that we haven't seen before." Oscar, one of the older swimmers, chimed in, his voice supporting Maya's plea. "Yeah. We can have team meetings to share ideas. Each of us has something to add." Zoe's voice rang out, filled with promise and hope. The energy was bubbling now, the enthusiasm contagious. Coach Reynolds' stern demeanor seemed to soften, the weight of the world slowly lifting from his shoulders. "All right, team," he said finally, "let us begin this journey together. If you believe this will help everyone improve, let us give it a shot." The air ignited with cheers and applause, echoing around the pool. Maya felt tears prick at her eyes, flooded with gratitude and joy as she shared glances with Zoe. They had achieved a monumental shift, opening the door to a new era. As practice continued, each race ignited a sense of camaraderie. The laughter resonating through the water brought a fresh spirit, the kids eager to learn, to explore. For Maya, it felt like every stroke was breaking new ground, carving out a path to possibility. As practice wrapped up, Coach Reynolds approached Maya, clearing his throat. "About what I said earlier, thank you for pushing me. I realize now that accepting change is the only way moving forward." A wide smile broke across Maya's face. "I appreciate that, Coach. We're all in this together. You've fostered incredible talent here." Zoe rushed over, eyes sparkling. "Today was the best. I feel like I can conquer anything." Maya's heart swelled with pride, knowing this transformation was only the beginning. Together, they could inspire even more change beyond the pool, igniting a movement in their community. As she packed her bag, Maya thought about their journey ahead. The path might not always be easy, but uncertainty began to feel like promise. Together, they were a force, ready to challenge not just the waters but perceptions, shaping something much bigger for everyone. Standing by the door, she glanced back at the team, laughter and camaraderie filling the air. She could almost hear her grandma's words again, "Fight for your dreams, baby." And finally, she believed, deep in her heart, that they could fight together. This was just the beginning. Don't wait any longer. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending, and remember, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Let us continue breaking barriers together.